Hello. I'm going on live both on Facebook and Instagram this morning. Okay, so today I'm going to talk a little bit about my childhood or my sort of early adulthood. So how I found yoga. So in my previous recording, I talked my illness as a child in my childhood. When I was a child, I wasn't very healthy. I had lots of health issues. And I actually spent lots of time not going to school and spent lots of time sort of having to rest at home. And from about the age of 9, 10, 11, I couldn't do any sports, any PE, and I couldn't do lots of school activities. So I couldn't do things like school trips. So that was what I talked about last time. So today I want to just talk how I discovered yoga and how discovering yoga changed my life. So from about 12, so when I moved to secondary school around that time. So prior to that, I had a heart problem. So I was very restricted to what I could do. But from about 12, miraculously, for no intervention, my health just improved and my heart condition just went, and I was allowed to do most things. But everybody was still quite careful, including myself. So I sort of gradually eased into doing things. So I was allowed to do PE, but I didn't really have much confidence. And also I wasn't very skilled in anything. So to be honest, PE lessons are so painful. I couldn't run. I was very slow in sprints. I dreaded long distance running. I wasn't very skilled in the ball games. So I was never picked in sports or sort of teams. And I hated swimming. In Japan, in the summer, most big schools have outdoor 25-meter swimming pool. And during the summer, so that's a couple months, all the PE lessons are swimming. And I really hated it. I hated everything about swimming. I hated wearing this certain school swimming costume. I hated those uniforms. I hated having to change clothes in a damp, smelly changing room. I hated wearing swimming caps. I also hated having my hair wet. Just everything about swimming I hated. And I have written so many fake sick notes to skip swimming lessons. And lots of my friends did sports clubs, but I didn't have confidence, so I didn't do any sports until I started my senior high school at the age of 15. Then I joined the tennis club. But until then, from the about age of 12 and 15, I was well enough to do anything, but I couldn't do any physical things very well at all. So I really grew up my sort of very important time, adolescence time, with very little physical confidence. And I had friends, and I was kind of reasonably sort of well adjusted in school life. But I wasn't one of these very popular kids who's, always doing very well in sports, always chosen to teams, always representing schools. I wasn't like that. I was kind of quite a booky kind of a child. Anyway, one thing I was quite good at school, in kind of physical term, is dance. So school PE had a dance module, so I quite liked them, and I was quite good creative dance. I was quite good. And so that's one thing I felt quite comfortable with. And anyway, So from the, I thought I was getting 16, 17, around that time, I discovered disco. So I just started to really like dancing, but not in any formal sense, just for fun way. Then when I moved to London at the age of 21 or 22, I started doing adult ballet class. So I joined adult ballet class. So initially I was doing once a week. Then I started taking more and more classes. So at some point I was doing 3 or 4 ballet classes as adult. And that's how it led me to yoga. So I just happened to find a yoga class, read about the yoga class in a paper. And so I went to see, because I thought that might help my ballet, that might help my dancing. But eventually yoga took over, and that's how I have eventually became yoga teacher, and I'm still teaching yoga after 30 plus years. So as I said, I grew up with very little physical confidence. I actually wasn't very well. I couldn't do lots of things. And when I discovered yoga, that really transformed my physical confidence. I think if you do sports, any sports, there's usually element of competition, element of competitiveness. And even if you don't enter competition, you have your record, you try to make PB, personal best, try to get better and better. So competitiveness is a drive to improve. So that's, I think, lots of sports, physical discipline, it's based on. And yoga is very different. Yoga is really, really non-competitive. You don't compete with other people. Or at least that's what we were told to do, not to compete. And the motivation comes from within. So if you do yoga, you will realize very quickly your body changes when you do yoga. So things you couldn't do 2 months ago, you can do. And that's really quite amazingly motivating thing. Maybe, things like back bends, it's quite difficult. Things we couldn't do, you can do. Maybe simpler things you couldn't balance before, tree pose, and now you can quite comfortably balance. Or lots of people say, well, I couldn't touch my toes, and now I can. So these change happened quite quickly, and that has been a great motivation for me, and I think that's for many people. The motivation comes within your own improvement, your own amazement that how your body changed. So really things like it still motivates me that when I can do difficult back bends or arm balance, which I couldn't do last year, and still motivates me to keep practicing. But there's always the other side of the coin, because you could over-motivate yourself. You could overdo because you just so want to get better, not to beat somebody or not to compete in competition, but you just feel, oh, I just so want to do this back bend. I so want to do this handstand. And if you start doing too much, then that's when you get injured. So you need to strike balance. You need to tame your competitive nature. So if you notice you're being competitive with yourself, then you need to look back your own practice. And maybe it's a good idea to just ease off a little bit, not to get too over-competitive with your own self. So that's how my yoga journey took off, and it led me to where I am. So, as I said, among all the benefits of yoga, so mental health, physical health, the biggest benefit of yoga for me is yoga gave me a lot of physical confidence, because I started off from a place where I had very little confidence. And now I know that I'm strong. I'm physically capable of lots of things. And more importantly, I'm at peace with my own body. I feel comfortable. So in this sense, yoga has been the most empowering thing in my life. And that's really the one of the biggest motivation for me to keep sharing this practice with you, with everybody. So I am strong, I'm healthy, I'm fit, and although I'm turning 60 next year, I don't feel it. I feel quite young. So this is what I really wanted to share with you, that what yoga has given me and the physical confidence it gave me. And I know that if I keep practicing mindfully, then I will stay this way for a very, very long time. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Thank you.